growth will be positive, as I said, in all member states in 2017 and gain momentum in half of them in 2018, while remaining uneven across the EU. Among the largest economies, growth in 2017 is expected to be above the EU average, which is 1.8%, in Poland at 3.2%, in Spain at 2.3%, and in the Netherlands at 2.0%. Economic growth in Germany is forecast at 1.6%, fueled by private consumption, thanks to robust job creation. Continued expansion of construction activity and further public expenditures increases are also expected to sustain the growth rate in Germany. In Greece, after a return to growth in 2016 of 0.3%, which was better than expected, economic activity is expected to expand strongly in 2017 and 2018, respectively 2.7% and 3%. It is worth underlining the extent to which economic activity in 2015 and 2016 performed much better than expected at the beginning of the programme, as well as outperforming more recent expectations. I will say more on Greece in a moment. Turning to the employment situation in Europe, the number of jobs being created is expected to grow further over the next 2 years. The combination of economic expansion, relatively moderate wage growth, as well as reforms implemented in some member states, should support job creation. More than 4 million jobs, new jobs, have been created over the past 3 years, and we expect this pace to keep on. At the same time, a non-negligible labour market slack is expected to persist. Unemployment is expected to continue declining, but of course not yet sufficiently to go back to the pre-crisis levels. In the euro area, unemployment should decrease from 10% in 2016 to 9.1% in 2018. In the EU, it should fall from 8.5% to 7.8% over the same period. Unemployment is projected to fall in almost all euro area countries over the forecast horizon, but of course it remains high in the countries hardest hit by the crisis. Investment continues to lag. Its recovery remains burdened by the moderate demand outlook, heightened uncertainty, as well as still high public and private debt levels in some member states. Investment is nevertheless expected to accelerate somewhat next year. This is thanks to low financing costs, the improving global demand outlook, high capacity utilization, and recovering profit margins. Also, a growing number of projects approved under the Investment Plan for Europe, the so-called Juncker Plan, are expected to move to the implementation phase, boosting both public and private investment. Overall, total investment is expected to grow by 2.9% in 2016 and to accelerate to 3.4% in 2018 in the euro area. Concerning Greece, the fiscal targets of the programme have been overachieved. In 2015, a primary surplus of 0% of GDP, or 0.2% of GDP was achieved against a target of a primary deficit of minus 0.25%. And in 2016, Greece is expected to have achieved a primary surplus of about 2% compared to a target of 0.5% of GDP. Looking ahead, continued good performance crucially hinges on keeping the programme on track. That's why we are working intensively to complete the second review and we should do that on the basis of the right figures. And I will be paying again a visit to Athens myself this Wednesday to play my part in helping to move things forward, meeting in particular Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras and Minister Euclid Tsakalotos. To conclude, let me underline that this forecast is surrounded by very high uncertainty. Overall, the balance of risks remains tilted to the downside, although upside risks have also emerged, especially in the short term. Clearly, the US represents the single most important source of uncertainty for the reasons I mentioned earlier. In the short term, the expected stimulus package boosts global GDP more than expected, but in the medium term, shifting US position on trade policy may damage international trade. Also, a faster rise in US interest rate and a stronger than expected dollar could hurt some emerging market economies. All these external factors, including the long-standing risks surrounding the adjustment underway in China and a potential reassessment in global risk appetite, could hit global financial markets. Closer to home, the UK's vote to leave the EU continues to pose a significant downside risk, and to the UK first, and to a lesser extent, the overall European economy. Political uncertainty is also especially high this year in view of the upcoming elections in several member states, Netherlands, France, Germany, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, maybe at one moment Italy, at the latest in February 2018. Finally, the banking sector fragilities remain a concern, even though the recent steepening of the yield curve provides some relief. In conclusion, the European economy has proven resilient to the numerous shocks it has experienced over the past year. Growth is holding up, and unemployment and deficits are heading lower. Yet, with uncertainty at such high levels, it's more important than ever that we use all policy tools to support growth. Above all, we must ensure that its benefits are felt in all parts of the euro area and all segments of society.